Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching Georgia Beer Reviews. Back at you today with another one. And what I'm looking at is a beer from Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers out of Framingham, Massachusetts. This is the Boston Rising. It's a double hoppy lager with Galaxy, Nelson, and Citra hops. Clocks in at 8% alcohol and 100 IBUs. I'm pretty excited about this beer. I've had a lot of Jack's Abbey beers. Their standard lagers, for the most part, are pretty light and sessionable. 8% is getting up there. The only other Jack's Abbey beers that I've had of this high and ABV have been from the Framingham series, the Baltic Porter line. So, very interested to try an 8% lager from them. And it's probably going to present more like an IPA because of the 100 IBUs, but let's find out. All right, here's your pour. Nice lager appearance. It's a deep golden color, very clear, lots of bubbles streaming up the glass. About a 1.5 to 2 finger head, white, frothy, like I said, typical lager appearance. The aroma, definitely some nice citrus notes coming through right up front. Little tangerine. I'm getting a little bit of like a berry note, almost like a strawberry aroma, which is interesting. But there's a definite berry note in there as well from the hops, which is really nice. So some citrus, some berry, definitely the malt character coming through on the nose. Some nice lightly toasted white bread aromas coming through, or white bread crust on the nose. I thought it was going to be, presentation wise anyway, on the aroma and the palate, that it was going to present like an IPA, but it doesn't. It does present more like a hoppy lager. There's a definite malt, significant malt presence on the aroma. It smells really delightful, and that little bit of a berry note is interesting. So let's see how that translates to the palate. I am salivating, so without further ado, let's get into this brew. Cheers. Wow, this is really enjoyable. I'm not sure when this was canned. They usually have the canned on dates right on the bottom of the can. Um, it's one thing about putting the dates on, printing them on the actual aluminum, is a lot of times they fade. So if there was a date on here, it's faded, but I'm pretty sure it's fresh. Jack's Abbey Brewery is not too far from here, and we get a lot of their stuff. You know, it cycles through pretty regularly, so I don't think that it's out of date. It The flavor is really nice. So you're getting some nice citrus hop character right up front, leads immediately into that nice bready malty center. There's a little bit of almost like a caramel sweetness from the lightly toasted malt. Definitely white bread notes in there. That berry note that I was mentioning on the aroma, that almost strawberry aroma. It doesn't quite translate to the palate, but there's a nice bitterness with this on the finish that presents like a European lager. Or I drank a Czech Pilsner earlier, has a little bit of that grassy and that herbal hop bite on the back end. This is really an enjoyable beer. I will say too, at 8% alcohol, there is no alcohol presence whatsoever. This is as sessionable as it gets for 8%. Super crisp, clean, refreshing. The body is light for an 8% beer. The carbonation is medium. It's very effervescent. It's very drinkable, scary drinkable for an 8% beer. Some of you might even call it a malt liquor. 8% lager. That's malt liquor range right there, baby. This is good stuff. It's perfectly balanced. It's not too sweet. It's not too hoppy. I would never in a million years guess that this is 100 IBUs. The way that they incorporate the hops in the beer and the balance with the malt, it's very well done. I've had 100 IBU beers before, um, including the Lagunitas Hop Stupid. That was 102 IBUs. That was much more bitter, much more hoppy than this, although it was still pretty well balanced for what they were doing with that beer. But this one, incredibly well balanced, scary sessionable for 8%, nicely balanced between the malt and the hops, nicely carbonated, drying finish, very inviting, super crisp and refreshing. I mean, what more could you ask for in a lager, right? That's what the definition of a lager should be. Crisp, clean, refreshing, dry finish, sessionable. You just want to keep drinking this. Although 8% is not really sessionable, but you would never know that it was 8%. I'm trying to think of what else to say about this beer. It's pretty straightforward too, much like most of the Jack's Abbey beers that I've had, other than the Framingham series that are barrel aged. You get a little bit of complexity and some more depth of flavor. But for the standard lager lineup that they're going for here, that they're doing exactly what they set out to do, which is to make super sessionable, although 8%, but easy drinking lagers that are refreshing and that aren't too over the top. And that's exactly what they did here. This one is a little bit better, though, than some of the other ones I've had. The 8% kind of amps it up a little bit. With the Galaxy, the Nelson, and the Citra, you're getting a little bit more complexity from the hops. So I'm going to go with a 97 out of 100 for this one. This one is really, really good. It's an outstanding beer. I would highly recommend it if you can get Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers in your area. You definitely need to check out Boston Rising. So 97 out of 100 for the Jack's Abbey Boston Rising. That'll do it for this beer review, guys. Buy it, try it, let me know what you think. And until the next one, everybody, cheers.